this, I think they could be onto something.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's going to add a new flavor to NXT. I'm interested to see, maybe does Gunther go back now?
Ooh, that would be good.
Do they
Yeah, I
make
kind of wonder, like maybe even a Finn Balor.
Yeah, because I'm wondering what they're going to do to make it different. Because I know they have a partnership with, what is it, WXW, and
Right.
they show some of their stuff on the network and all. So I'm wondering if they're going to use talent from there as well as the NXT UK talent. So
Yeah, all really curious. So I figured this episode we'd do kind of a state of the titles. And so let's just start with NXT UK, the UK Championship held by Tyler Bate, who I believe was the original NXT UK champion.
yes, he won that
Who
tournament.
lost yeah. So he's the first two-time winner, right?
The only two-time winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was he was the
Then he lost
first
to Pete
champ.
Dunne.
Then he
Mhm.
lost to Dunn, and then Gunther had it.
Right.
Um, Walter, now Gunther, and
Right.
then Ilya,
Yeah,
right?
Dragunov.
And now Bate again. So yeah, there's only been 5 reigns in the whole entire history of the company. Granted, they were shut down during the pandemic for a long time,
Sure.
so it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do. Do they make that part of the NXT Europe
Right.
program? Like maybe make it, instead of having the United States title as a secondary title, does the United Kingdom title become a secondary title?
To the
And,
European Championship.
and we
Yeah.
bring the European Championship back.
I tell you, I just want to see that old belt with all the flags on it. I think that would
Oh,
be
I
cool.
love it. I think they need to get D'Lo Brown back to award whoever is the first champion the belt, though.
Yes. D'Lo Brown, the greatest European champion of all time,
Bar none.
needs to be there to
Yeah.
hand deliver the first European championship.
I loved how he used to dress up.
And he's got to show up in the chest protector,
Yeah.
the old umpire outfit that
Oh,
he
yeah.
had from the torn pectoral muscle that supposedly was supposed to heal like within like 2 months, but then it was like 2 years he wore like
It was kind of
kind of
like
like
the
that was
Bob
a cast.
Orton. Yeah, the Bob
Yeah,
Orton. Yeah,
right.
that gimmick.
Yeah, he was a slow healer.
Yeah, it happens.
Sure, sure. And so yeah, that sounds like it's really going to breathe new life into NXT Europe,
Yeah.
or and then by extension the NXT UK.
Right. Yeah.
As now, it's supposedly announced that it's closed. Like you said, I don't know if it's going to be working in conjunction with NXT Europe, if they're going to tour similar places, and like
I
you said, keeping the UK title but adding a European championship.
I know they already announced their first event's going to be September 4th.
Okay, so the day after Carnage at the Castle.
Yeah, day after the Clash at the Castle, they're going to
Yeah.
have. It's called World. It's going to be one of those Worlds Collide again.
Okay.
So I wonder if they're going to bring some of the NXT talent over, kind of have the Europeans against the North Americans, or what they're going to do.
That would make a lot of sense, and I'd love to see at the end of it, like Braun Breaker versus Tyler Bate.
Yeah.
Champion versus champion.
I would love that match.
Which, while we're at it, why don't we talk about the state of the championship of the NXT UK Championship? Look, we talked about it's only a couple different title reigns, but over the course of what has it been, like 5-6 years?
Probably at this point. Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Yeah, and every title reign, it seems to be, is extremely long. And there was a time where that would be considered prestigious. Now, I think what it is, it's just they don't know what else to do with you, so you just have this title reign that lasts forever.
I don't know, because it seemed like they took them off at the right times too.
Mm-hmm.
The only one I would have liked to see gone longer was Tyler Bates' first run,
Sure.
because that was a little bit shorter because I guess they had plans for Pete Dunne, and then
Yeah.
Dunne had a long reign, Walter had a long reign, and then Dragunov had to forfeit the title because of injury.
Sure.
And it was kind of like the one who I think deserved a reign that didn't get it, and I would have loved to see him win the final, was Trent Seven.
Yeah.
Because
I'm a big fan of Trent Seven. Yeah.
he's been there since the beginning in the UK
Mm-hmm.
brand. I mean, they've gotten rid of a lot of people in that brand. But he and
Yeah.
Bates have been there, and I think Gallus.
Yeah, it's funny. They seem to have used NXT UK as sort of what they were originally trying to do with NXT, which was as a minor league development, and they were using it there, and then bringing guys, instead of bringing them from there to WWE, they were bringing them then to the traditional NXT.
Yep.
And so, like, Pete Dunne and Gunther are two great examples, along with the rest of Imperium, although only Ludwig Kaiser remains now from the original tag team.
Yeah. And Rhea Ripley.
Right, that's another example, yeah.
She was the first women's champion there. And
Mhm.
then, unfortunately, I still don't get how WWE let her go, was Tony Storm.
Oh, God, yeah, that just made no sense to me.
And, of course, she's going to be challenging Thunder Rosa in All Out again. So,
Of
maybe
course,
they'll
and
give
she'll
her the
probably
run.
win the title.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, what a weekend that's going to be, Labor Day weekend.
Oh, it's going to be good.
Yeah, we've got the, of course, Friday Night SmackDown, Clash at the Castle on Saturday, All Out Sunday, and also on Sunday, Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
And then just standard Monday Night Raw and Labor Day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a jam-packed weekend.
It is. It will be. And the one thing I'm interested to see is what AEW is going to do with the world title picture now.
Sure. Yeah, because, I mean, Punk was at AEW Dynamite last night, but apparently he's still not cleared.
They actually announced towards the end of the show, they're having their, I guess you could call it the unification match. They're pushing up till next week.
Oh.
They're giving it to us on Dynamite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I wasn't able to watch last night. I came home today thinking I would just put on, because I DVR it every week and always watch it the next day, and it was not on my DVR list. So I was like, oh boy. So I don't know what happened. It's scheduled to DVR next week, but
yeah. Let's see here. They had Punk and Moxley do a fight in the beginning, and then they announced midway through the show they're going to have their match next week. They kicked off the trios tag tournament for the titles, and the Young Bucks and their mystery partner turned out to be Kenny Omega, returning, defeated Andrade, Roosh, and Dragon Lee.
Okay.
And then at the end, Andrade hit Roosh with that hammerlock DDT, and it took his mask off. And then they showed Kenny and the Bucks going back in the ring, and then they shut it off the broadcast.
Oh, wow. So,
interesting.
You wonder where that's going to lead.
Yeah, it looks like brother versus brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm down for one of those matches. Those two are great.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they announced next week also in the tournament first round, it's going to be Death Triangle against Will Osprey in the Aussie Open. So that's going to be a must-see match, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Death Triangle. I've been a fan of that trio. Like, all three of those guys, I think, are just absolutely bona fide stars.
Yeah.
And then Will Osprey. I was in on him a few years ago when I just saw this clip that was floating around YouTube of just it was nothing but spots. It was Will Osprey and
Yeah.
I can't remember the person he was working with, but it was just the two of them just constantly like bouncing off each other, doing spots on each other, like no room to breathe in it. And like I was just blown away by the different stuff that he was able to do.
Yeah.
So
Now
I can't wait to see him lock up with any one of those three
yeah,
next week.
I'm really, really, really hoping that the way they had the bracket lined up, I'm hoping
Mhm.
the final is Death Triangle against the Elite or the Bullet Club or whatever
Right.
the Bucks and Omega. That would be great because Rampage is having. I don't get how this is in a championship tournament. This match,
Oh boy.
best friends against the Truth Busters or the Trust Busters.
Okay. Yeah, the Trust Busters. Yeah.
To me, that's really trying to pull strings to get an 18 field in. If you have the Trust Busters, who've only been on Rampage once or twice.
Right. Yeah, they were just basically a dark trio, and now you've got them on Rampage competing in this tournament. And it's one thing if like this trio had been really built up for like the last couple months and it started creating a lot of buzz, but
Yeah.
it's like they've only been on Dark like what 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and then they put them on Rampage last week
Yeah,
to try to get people interested in them. I'm just like, what? And then I
if they're
forget, I
not
know
interested.
House of Black's in the tournament too, but
Sure.
yeah,
And that's one of the like House of Black. I don't know what direction they're trying to go with that group.
I'm confused.
Yeah, because I feel like they could be three legit badasses that just mow through everybody.
And they just have done nothing with them.
Right. I mean, talk about like if we just said that, like, okay, this trio is brought in, and just no, like they do something to put them over at the beginning and then do nothing with it, wouldn't we immediately assume we're talking about Vince McMahon's led WWE?
Yes.
But instead, we're talking about that with the,
Tony Khan, AEW.
yeah.
Again, it seems like he doesn't want to push a lot of the right people. Like when
I feel like he's somebody that got involved in this because basically the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and at the time Cody, like came to him wanting funding and basically offered him control to fund them to put this company together.
right,
And now he only wants to push the people he knows and the people that like I guess he watched wrestling for a few years and now he knows wrestling. Like
right, yeah, it's really just some of the questionable pushes, lack there pushes. They oh, and then since you missed it, they did an interview segment announcing another match for All Out. It's going to be Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh against FTR and Wardlow, who now go by the name The Pinnacle again.
so they're the Pinnacle, yet the guy who put together the Pinnacle is persona non grata.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's one match I'm actually looking forward to next week, too. Because Dax called out Jay Lethal in the interview saying how, Jay, you think you're the best wrestler in the world. A lot of people are saying Dax the Axe is, so let's go one-on-one. So that, I think, might be a really, really good television match. It might actually outshine the Punk Moxley match next week.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that match.
Yeah.
Because Jay Lethal, I think, is one of the more underrated by like I guess by the casual fan. Like
Yes.
they probably look at Jay Lethal and like maybe they've seen on YouTube his woo off with Ric Flair
Yeah.
and think that's all he is. It's just a Nature Boy clone.
Right. Or maybe they dig a little bit further and remember the Black Machismo
Right.
gimmick, which was horrible.
And really, both gimmicks were not good. He made them good because he's awesome, but
He's awesome, yeah. And I mean, that's one thing when they purchased Ring of Honor, I thought he was going to be like front and center, one of the guys, because he already signed
yeah,
a big deal with AEW. But it's like, hey, we bought Ring of Honor. Let's do nothing with the brand.
yeah. Like I'll say this: Vince McMahon bought WCW. At least he did something with it. He killed it, but like,
But at least he had an angle and
right,
made something interesting out of it where they bought just the library. They pretty much got rid of Jonathan Grisham already. He's having a fight because for the pay per view, they start with the world title match and end with the TV title match, I thought. Or I forget what match. It might have been the tag team titles, is what they ended with.
okay.
But,
But basically, the Ring of Honor World Title yanked the curtain.
yeah. Yeah.
Oof,
And
that's
I
rough.
I didn't pay the $40-50 because I couldn't justify
Nah.
spending that much for that. But like I read, it was pretty much a glorified squash match just to get Claudio Castronoli the world title.
And that's a shame because, like, Claudio Castagnoli deserves to have a main event spot where he goes out, wrestles a 20 to 30-minute banger, and wins the world title. Like,
Yep.
that's what he deserves. And he deserves to have, the show end with the confetti coming down and him holding up the world title and
Right.
like, to have his WrestleMania moment. Like, that's what he deserves.
Right. Like I guess it was last year when he was still at the company at WrestleMania
Mm-hmm.
Backlash. I thought maybe they're going to get smart and give him a title reign, but no, they didn't.
Nah.
No.
And I really thought they were going to capitalize off that momentum that he had after he beat Seth Rollins in what I think was one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, they followed up at WrestleMania Backlash, and I thought, man, that's really quick for them to capitalize on that momentum. But hey, you know what? If you feel like you've got like it's ready to go, like you want to put the rocket pack on them, go for it.
Right.
And but then to just yank it out from underneath and just to feed him to Roman Reigns, that was such a shame.
Right. But man, we got to be all about Roman. As the state of the titles, it's always about Roman.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like everything's all about Roman, and yeah, and maybe this is partially by design, but it's starting to make me think they're not taking the belts off Roman at Clash at the Castle.
Early betting odds is he's the favorite
Yeah,
to win and retain.
and it's funny because I always love looking at those betting odds because usually day of, like something skyrockets because it's like it gets leaked that that's what the finish is.
Yeah.
And they've gotten so good, especially now that gambling's been incorporated on a scripted show. Which, look, I'm an avid sports gambler. I have yet to ever place a wager on a pro wrestling event because I just can't get behind putting any of my money behind something that's scripted.
Here's my thing: is it even legal to
It
gamble?
really shouldn't be.
I'm because like I know over in the UK it is because I've listened to podcasts, but like I downloaded DraftKings for that free to play thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never seen any option to gamble on wrestling.
Well, they're like when they have specials, sometimes they'll throw like a special out there.
Right.
Like
Like
like there was a WrestleMania special. Now nothing was when I looked at it, I didn't see anything that was geared around who was winning,
right.
but it was like how many spears are we gonna have? It's gonna be like
Exactly. It's like their $10,000 prize pool, but I don't think you
right,
can actually say I'm going to bet $5 for Roman Reigns to beat Brock Lesnar in the match. I don't think you could do that.
right. Or if like like if you know somebody in WWE, like if you and Triple H were good buddies,
Right.
and you text Triple H and he says to you, "Hey, watch this. Drew McIntyre's winning the title tonight. You could go put $100,000 on Drew to win."
Right.
And because to me that's cheating the system. Then
A
that's
little
like
bit.
insider trading.
Yeah. But see, that's where I think it's limited in the UK because
Mhm.
I'll watch wrestling shoot interviews on YouTube a lot,
Mhm.
and James has talked about betting. It's a $25 limit, and that's it.
Okay.
So you can't win or lose that much on it. So, which is fair
Okay.
because it is
Yeah, that's
scripted.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I always said, I'm like, I will never be that much of a degenerate that I'm gonna sit there and bet on a scripted event.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's like me like going into watching Romeo and Juliet and betting on them both dying at the end. Like that's not fair.
It's not fair.
Spoiler alert, everybody.
You know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. See, everyone like that I know who sports bets, it's always like football, football, football.
That's me.
I I got into the interesting hockey gambling for a while, and that
Oh,
was
hockey gambling's fun.
it's so tough when you're
Yeah.
doing. I used to do like the pick four sheets years ago
Mhm.
when I worked, and that was interesting to try to do that on the weekends. But
Yeah. I love to see. I go on DraftKings and I'll always find the team coming off a back to back, and I'll say if they won the night before, I'll bet against them that night.
right,
And if they lost the night before, I'll bet on them to win the next night. Because it's
yeah,
like odds would suggest that most teams are about 500,
yeah,
and
in
it's just
theory, they
you
should.
get a few over, and
Right. I mean, I don't know if you saw. I saw like a little meme on Facebook listed
mhm.
all 32 NFL teams and last time their losing record was. And I thought it was fascinating. The Bills were 2018, but other than that, only 5 teams have had a losing record before that year. The other
Oh,
27 have all had a losing record in the past 3 or 4 years, 3 or 4 years. So
mhm.
it shows you the parity
Exactly.
of it. Yeah.
And to me, I know parity makes gambling harder.
Right.
To me, it makes it easier because then if you see one result, you can say, "I'll bet the other way in the next game."
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas parity has not been the case in WWE. It's been the Roman Reigns show. So
Right.
I mean, we can do the women next. The women can main event our show tonight. So we'll just do the WWE World Championship, or I'm sorry, the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship.
It's it's a dark age, I think, for wrestling fans.
Just call it the world title. That's what it is. It's the world title.
It's supposed to be a world title that should make an appearance every week, I think, on TV. And when does Roman show up? Like he'll show up just for SmackDowns. I think
Right.
since he's won both titles at WrestleMania. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it just one Monday Night Raw or two?
It might have been two that he would, yeah, because I think he showed up the Raw after WrestleMania.
And the Madison Square Garden Raw.
Yeah, MSG.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're going to, and they don't do this, unless you're going to make the Intercontinental title and the United States titles a main focus on the show, have the
Hmm.
champions out every week, every other week, defending it, loses a lot of gravity.
I mean, and that's the thing. We haven't had a real fighting WWE champion. Like, I mean, definitely pre-COVID.
Right.
Because I mean, Drew defended the WWE title fine, but he wasn't putting it on the line every week. He defended it every month,
Right.
and that's fine. I don't need my champion to defend it every month or every week. Once a month, is that gonna kill you?
Right. But see, even when we had these Lesnar reigns that were lasting for a
Mhm.
while, He'd only be on on what every four times a year defending the title at all the big
By the way,
events.
I was on that train of the anti-Lesnar train before anybody else. I have to say, the first reign that he had as the part-time champion when he suplexed John Cena out of the main event, I was right away like, okay, well, this means you got to show up. You're the and at that time he was the WWE World Champion. He was the only World Champion that we had.
Yep.
And I said, well, you got to be out there every week. And then he wrestled John Cena the next month at Clash of Champions. And I remember thinking, like, oh, okay, like, if he's gonna be out there and he's gonna defend it, then I'm fine with it. And then he was gone until the Royal Rumble,
Yep.
and then gone until WrestleMania.
Right.
And then I was just so relieved when Seth cashed in and won because I was
Yeah.
not rooting for Brock Lesnar. I was okay with Roman, but I wasn't excited about it at the time.
Right.
I was excited with Seth Rollins.
Yeah. And see, that's the other thing. Like, there's not that excitement right now with the Money in the Bank contract.
No.
As much as I give them credit for putting it on theory for somebody different,
Yeah, I
he
just
isn't doing it
no.
for people.
I'll tell you what I originally thought following WrestleMania was possibly it was when Edge was leader of the Judgment Day. I thought, man, it'd be cool if they let Edge win Money in the Bank, Mr. Opportunity, the ultimate opportunist. Drew McIntyre wins the title, maybe and again, I thought maybe TLC. There's a TLC match, maybe a fatal 4-way TLC match. Drew gets the crap beat out of him at the end of the match. Drew somehow retains. Edge cashes in, becomes champion, and we get say Edge and Cody at WrestleMania.
Right.
So again, I'm conceding Cody's winning the Rumble. He's WrestleMania 30 or what is it 39?
39. Yep.
Yeah, is going to be all about Cody.
Right. Which I think after this injury, it definitely really made that more like we miss him now.
Yeah.
When he comes back, people are going to go bananas. He deserves that Triple H return right before Royal Rumble and say, hey, my first match back is the Rumble. And then boom.
Yeah, I think he's definitely deserving of it.
Yep.
Cody deserves that moment, like you said, like a Monday Night Raw moment, like maybe 2-3 weeks out from the Rumble. Cody comes out, announces he's back, and he will be entering the Royal Rumble. Place will go nuts, just like they did for Triple H.
Yeah.
And we're off to the races.
Yeah. And then it's all about Cody beating Roman.
Right.
Which I really wish it was somebody else, but I think it's going to be Roman still.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think, my reason behind really believing that it was going to be somebody else was I thought Roman would drop the title sometime over the summer, whether it be SummerSlam or at Clash at the Castle. I really believed we were going to get Roman versus The Rock at WrestleMania, and we still might.
We might.
But I don't want it. I don't want that to be for the WWE Universal Undisputed Championship.
It better not be.
Because that means you got to have The Rock come back and win the Royal Rumble. And
no, you need Cody to win
that.
Yeah.
Again, this is Cody's year. Cody gets the main event WrestleMania.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally. And then it'll be interesting because it's pretty wide open. They don't have any clear ideas yet, it looks like, for the women in the Rumble.
No. I feel like that's pretty open. I wonder if it could be a case kind of like last year was all about, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns unifying the men's championship. I wonder if it could be that next April we're unifying the women's championship. Again, this is just my wishful thinking of the end of the brand extension.
Right. I don't know, because how are they going to get to that? And who are they going to have go for the unification match? Because honestly, it can't be Bianca or Liv. That's for certain.
No, not Bianca or Liv. I mean, Ronda Rousey makes sense in one of the roles,
Right.
and then it's just who do you put in the other spot? And you
Do
can't
we?
have Charlotte; she was just there,
Right.
and you can't have Liv because she's right there now.
Right.
Um,
Do we finally get our Ronda versus Becky one-on-one match?
I would absolutely love it.
I. That's what I want to see one day. Because they held off on that this WrestleMania to have
Right.
Ronda against Charlotte. So
Well, it would be great if, say, like Ronda Rousey were to win the SmackDown Women's title, at whatever point, like somewhere down the line here in the next couple months, and say, Becky Lynch, she's out with her shoulder injury. What if she doesn't come back into the Royal Rumble? We kind of forget about her, and then she's like the 30th entrant in the Royal Rumble. Comes
right,
out, wins the Royal Rumble. Next night comes out, and it's just like, they're talking about the Raw Women's Championship is going to be defended in the Elimination Chamber. Becky Lynch comes out. I'm in the chamber. I'm taking the Raw Women's title, and then I'm going to unify the women. Basically doing the Brock Lesnar routine.
right, which wouldn't be a bad idea.
Sure.
Another thing they could do is if they really wanted to unify them quicker, Survivor Series is coming up.
Champion versus champion. It's title versus title.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, like if you're doing that, if you're just gonna say, "Oh, title for title," you could just do Liv Morgan versus Bianca Belair.
Right.
Like maybe have a segment like where they're talking about Survivor Series, and the two of them, they're saying, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. We're gonna get to have a match," and it's like, "Yeah, too bad it's not for the titles." And one of them says, "Well, why don't we just do it for the belts?"
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just not sold on Bianca.
I never have been.
I've never been a fan of hers. Like my wife, when she comes on, she'll be like, "Oh, there's the one you love so much." Since NXT, I just haven't gotten behind her. I've hated that EST gimmick.
Yeah, I always thought that was the dumb est gimmick.
It really is. And,
Yeah.
I mean, I think she'd be a lot better with another gimmick and
Yeah.
give her a heel run.
Yeah, I would enjoy that. And again, like if you were going to pull this Liv and Bianca going at each other for the belts at Survivor Series, I think it would be great to see Bianca to start to work in the heel role against Liv.
They need to do something, I think. Her and her husband, I think if they have Montez split from Angelo Dawkins, which they've been kind of moving towards, maybe make them both heels, I think that might give them a good character change. Because
I think it'd be fantastic. Yeah.
I think Ford would be a great Intercontinental or U.S. champion if they gave him the backing for it. He's a great athlete.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Montez Ford could hang with anybody in the ring, and I think it would be awesome if they had him and Lashley for the U.S. title. I think that'd be fantastic.
I think so too. And then another question is, for me, speaking of titles, will we finally get a revamped, proper Cruiserweight title now that Vince is gone?
I hope so. And I hope they do something because there's so many guys that I feel like would qualify for it. Yep. You don't have to pigeonhole them into if they're cruiserweights, they just do cruiserweight matches.
Right.
They kind of do it the way WCW did the cruiserweight title, where it was just part of the mix. It's like, yeah, they wrestled for the cruiserweight title, but they also did other things.
Like Mysterio at the Filthy Animals, had tag matches. That's how I feel they should do it, especially now since Santos Escobar lost.
And and looks like he's going to get in the call up.
He's going to be getting a call up. Pete Dunne's Butch or Butch is what they're calling
No.
him. He's up there. Like they've got enough people. And the thing I would do, instead of having 205, move it up towards the New Japan level or the old WCW level, make it 225.
Sure. And
And
you
then,
don't have to call it 205. Like, don't have a special show 205 live.
no,
It's just you're the WWE Cruiserweights.
right,
They could throw Roderick Strong and have a Cruiserweight title tournament.
right.
And it's like you see all these guys and you're like, oh, wait, I didn't realize that guy could qualify for the Cruiserweight title.
Yeah, because I think Vince had something out for the cruiserweights. Because every time the WWE tried to do a cruiserweight title, it didn't work well for him.
No. The light heavyweight title was awful.
Light
and then when they
heavyweight,
brought the Cruiserweight title over, like, it seemed like whoever was writing SmackDown did a great job with it.
right? And then all of a sudden, the more Vince had his influence, it went because it's not the gargantuan status figures. He doesn't get it.
Well, right, and it could be such a great like stepping stone. Like you saw so many guys like Dean Malenko and Chris Jericho,
Yep.
who were cruiserweight champions and then became like television champions or U.S. champions.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it was like you were saying, okay, well, the next viable option would be going for the major championship, the WWE World Championship.
Yeah.
Okay, like, and then we can put them in the mix.
And New Japan's done that wonderfully for years with Omega, with Osprey, with quite a few launches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's one thing I would like to see them try again with the new regime.
Yeah, I really feel like, and now they're doing a lot, like, and a lot pretty quickly. Yeah. I'll tell you though, I think what we're gonna see is after we get through these next few weeks, the changes will kind of slow down, but then you'll see gradually, like some of those things, like the cruiserweight title, maybe a women's undercard title, and I still think mixed tag and trios, like they got to do those.
Mixed tag will be interesting
because right now it's only the one company in Mexico that Sammy Guevara and Ty Conte are the
AAA.
Yeah, AAA. Yeah,
AAA is the one, that AEW works with. And they're the only ones who have the mixed tags.
And I think they could do some great teams, like, and it doesn't have to just be a couple teaming together. Like, you don't have to have Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch.
Right.
Like, you could have, or even Bianca and Montez Ford, although I think they'd be an ideal first mixed tag team champions as heel champions.
Yep.
And, you could have, say, Angelo Dawkins goes and finds,
Brooke.
Sure.
And just throw a name out there. People who are lost, that would give them an opportunity.
Absolutely. And that could be a good way to then incorporate the split up of the Street Profits into this new tournament style. It's a great way to introduce them becoming a rival as opposed to just they lose a tag team match and then all of a sudden they're fighting each other. I know. Well, they're having the mixed tag team title tournament. And so then, say Ford and Bianca, then they team up and maybe they start doing heel things, and Angelo Dawkins then gets caught up in the middle of it, maybe gets himself a partner, and then it's you've got that mix going.
Yeah, or maybe they'll bring back the infamous Mixed Match Challenge.
I was a fan of the idea because, again, I like the mixed tag matches.
Right.
Until they started saying, oh, well, the winner's going to get to go on the vacation anywhere and the number 30 entrant into the Royal Rumble.
Right, yeah. And then they give it to R-Truth and Carmella.
I'm not say a team like an AJ and Asuka or I'm trying to think of Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
No, R-Truth and Carmella.
Yeah.
Are you effing kidding me?
Right. And then who else was on there? I think the first season wasn't the Miz and Asuka team, and they did like that was a good team. But then to have R-Truth and Carmella, it's like, really?
See, what I would hope they would do with introducing this mixed tag team title tournament would be our Truth and Carmella kind of run into each other, and you kind of look at it like maybe they share a moment where they think, "Hey, wait, we could be, we won Mixed Max Challenge. Maybe we could be the mixed tag team champions."
Yeah.
And of course, they fall flat on their face in the first round, and
Yep.
and it be something if Corey Graves, who I know is cleared medically to compete,
Yes.
wouldn't it be something if then, like, say, Truth and Carmella lose in the first round, and afterwards Carmella's blaming Truth, and then out of nowhere Corey Graves nails our Truth?
Right. In defense of his wife. That would be
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if Graves is going to wrestle, though. Because
He's done such a good job as a broadcaster. I really don't want to see him give that up.
I mean, to me, he carries the Monday Night Raw team.
Absolutely.
Because Jimmy's okay. Byron's just Byron.
Yeah, like at first I was just like, "Oh, that's cute." They make fun of him and like he's a nerd and a douche. And then like, wait, no, he's really a nerd and a douche. Like,
Yeah. He's really, really just like there for just to collect the check. I'm convinced.
yeah,
Yeah.
like he doesn't bring anything really to the broadcast.
No. Like for me, I'd rather see them rehire Aiden English
Sure,
and
I'd be
put
a fan
him
of
on.
that.
Yeah, I mean he's working with
Which he's
Impact.
done great at Impact. Yeah, I think he's been a great color commentator
Him
on
and
Impact.
Todd, is it Todd Hallahan or Tom? It used to be Tom Phillips.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, they do really well on Impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a great job on Impact.
Yeah, because their big event will be coming up in October. Before we
Yeah,
know.
Bound for Glory.
Yeah, they already spoilers out what the main event is, so I'm interested to see it.
Okay. I'm assuming Josh Alexander defending the Impact World Championship.
Against Eddie Edwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's got potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into that. That'd be
Yeah.
a good
Why
matchup.
don't
So I
we-
take it then Honor No More won the match with the Bullet Club.
I'm assuming. That's what happened. So
Because I didn't watch their special.
no,
It's
neither
hard
do
for me to justify ordering any company's special when I get all the top companies' specials for just $10 a month or $5 a month now because of Peacock.
I. Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm just like I can't sit there and justify spending $40 to $50 on one event. It's like
No.
you got to make something really, really special, and then it comes to the point where, like last year's All Out when Punk was coming back,
Mm-hmm.
was all right. I want to say it. Let me see if anyone else wants to say it, and then I threw one of the old parties again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, see, I could go in for something like that, maybe.
Yeah. yeah, but like the comfort of just sitting and watching it for 50, 40, 50. Like that's what I looked on Fight when on Comcast out of curiosity to see how much Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor is going to be.
Right.
They were charging $40 or $50 for it. I forget which one.
Jesus.
That was my face exactly. Like this is your first show. You've done very minimal on the TV. I was thinking maybe a 20, 25 bracket to get.
I could see spending $24-25.
Right.
Yeah.
But not 40 or 50 for a brand you purchased and have done nothing with.
And it's like, and you think about it, like I could take that $40, I could spend it on Death Before Dishonor, or I could take that $40 and I can get like 8 months worth of Peacock with no ads because I was a WWE Network subscriber.
Right.
And
Well,
so, like, why am I going to spend that?
right. And the thing is, with the network, you get a plethora of other things where,
And I can rewatch it. I can, like,
right,
because I mean,
where
I don't think you have the ability to, like, DVR on any of those, right?
with Xfinity, you can
Okay.
record it and you can watch it again. So,
Okay.
yeah, they do give you that option.
Right. I did have that, yeah, because I guess it was about 6 months or so before the network came out. My wife and I ordered, well, we ordered, I think, the Payback and then Money in the Bank
Yeah.
that summer. And we DVR'd both of those and kept them on the DVR until the network came out, and then I deleted them both.
Yeah. And that's how when I first got married, my wife looked at me
Mm-hmm.
like, why? Because I got married in 2011. She
Yeah.
goes, why do you have these? Down at my parents' house, they had shelves built in their basement. I literally had
Oh, I
two
love it.
6 shelves filled of cardboard paper boxes with every Monday Night Raw from, I would guess, 96 or 97 till about 2008 on VHS.
Mm-hmm.
I had every of the monthly original TNA pay-per-views from 2006 when they started with Turning Point
Mm-hmm.
all the way to about 2010. I think I didn't miss one for 4 years
Oh, wow.
until Hogan came. Once
Okay.
Hogan came, that was it. I shut it. I stopped. I would pay the $30 a month because I thought they were a lot better than WWE products at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, why do you have all these? Now I wish I would have kept some of them instead of throwing them all out in a rush right after our honeymoon because I had the Benoit tribute show on
Oh,
VHS.
wow.
I literally didn't miss for years a Raw. I had it on the VCR and it was ready to go every
Mm-hmm.
week. I had the Benoit tribute show. I had the Owen Hart tribute show.
Which now I know the Benoit tribute show is not available. I don't know if the Owen Hart one is.
The Owen Hart one, I think they finally put on the network. But
Okay.
yeah, like I had a lot of the rare stuff.
Oh man, I remember watching the Chris Benoit one because I set up to record the show, and I was going somewhere doing something with my dad, or for whatever reason, I wasn't home at the start of Raw, and I go and I turn it on, and it's like in the middle of Benoit JBL match from WrestleMania 22. And I'm
Right.
like, what the hell are they doing? Like, why are
Yeah,
they showing this?
yeah.
And so I
I,
restarted it from the beginning, and I went, what the hell?
yeah. That's how I was shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I was shopping with my mom and sister at a shopping center that Monday, and I just went on the internet on my phone, and I went into www.com, and they said Chris Benoit died. I go, what? And I was stunned because at the time he was one of my top 3 favorite wrestlers,
Absolutely, mine too. Yeah.
and
And
I'm
I
just
find
like,
it funny, and I'll tell you why when you're done the story about the whole story of the VHS collection. But yeah, go ahead.
and I'm just like, what? And I couldn't believe it. I tune in, and then the next day,
Yeah.
actually right afterwards, you find out what really happened. And then the next day, Vince on ECW. That's the last time his name will ever be mentioned, and so it hasn't been mentioned.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's how you know that this show is not in any way affiliated with WWE because we will freely use the name Chris Benoit.
Correct.
Um, so it was funny you bring up your VHS collection. I had one as well. It was mainly the pay-per-views, like, and sporadically WWE, WCW pay-per-views from about like 92, 93 through, gosh, like 2006, 2007.
Yep.
Like, I would have, like, I had every WrestleMania on VHS up through WrestleMania, I think 28.
Okay.
I had every one of those.
Wow.
Yeah, and including some that I had to go back and purchase, like because I would like WrestleMania 1. I watched at a movie theater in Salisbury, Maryland,
Okay.
and then the rest it was just all on pay per view.
Yep. And see, my cable company
Mhm.
at the time was Adelphia, which got bought out by Comcast few
Sure.
years later, but they didn't offer pay per view. Like I would have to go to a friend's house. I remember
Mhm.
WrestleMania 4. I went to one of my friends' houses in elementary school, and we were watching WrestleMania 4. But
Mhm.
in between matches, his dad would take the remote and quick flip on Clash of Champions to see what was going on there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that would be the same night of Sting and Flair, and
Yep.
there's what was it like a 75 minute or like a 45 minute,
45-minute draw, I believe.
45 minute draw. Yeah.
And that just proves how great Ric Flair was in his prime.
Oh God, he was the man. He was
Because
the man.
you could go back now and hear stories of just how bad Sting and the Ultimate
Mhm.
Warrior were beginning in '85. And really, Sting didn't progress that much in those couple years.
No,
Looking at that match, Flair really carried it. And that's finally when Sting finally got into his huge megastar role, I think, was that
yeah.
feud.
All right, I think that's gonna about wrap it up for the show. I think that was great, but I just thought it was funny. You bringing up the fight that you had with your wife about throwing out the VHS tapes, and I had about the same kind of fight, and I managed to hold out and keep most of them until the network came out, and then it was just, look, it's all available on the network. Just get rid
Right.
of them, and
See,
that's what set me over the edge.
my thing is I've converted a lot to DVD because I
Oh,
had
that's
a
awesome.
converter. So I have a couple big binder. Yeah, the C. Remember the old CD books
Yeah, yeah.
that have a couple hundred? I have a few of them filled up with old wrestling DVDs.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's stuff like I have and I made a lot of money on these on eBay. The original Coliseum home videos. I have a lot of them on disc, and I've noticed one thing, like they've released a few of them, like Piper's Greatest Hits and
Hmm.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I think a Hulkamania here and there.
Hmm.
The ones I used to love, they haven't put out yet. I think I have most of them. Is the best of the WWF.
Yeah. And the other one I really enjoyed was some of the European tour
Yes, the
VHSs they
Rampage
put out.
ones. Yep.
Yeah. Well, look, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. Great episode as always, Mike. Always fun talking wrestling with you.
Always a good time.
Yeah, we'll be back here next week talking more.
Exactly. That's what we're here for.
All right, everybody, have a great night. Mike, anything to add before we get out of here?
I'm good, thank you.
All right. Everybody, have a great night and happy wrestling.